Hi guys, welcome back to
Casual.
Casual Blading Bevvie, episode 17. We've got Dan Collins here, Mr. Mac 10, throw yourself at everything as fast as you can. So we haven't been on for a while due to adult life, as you can understand. Everybody's definitely feeling them feelings, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, it's nice to be back. So Dan, we're going to kick off with you with simple questions to begin with, and then we'll probably go into a little bit more about your background anyway. So do you want to kick it off with telling us where you began to start skating, how old you were, who you skated with, area you grew up in?
Okay, yeah. So first memories of skating would have been when I was about 10 years old. Remember getting my first skates from a department store, either Christmas or my birthday, can't remember. That started skating up and down the street. I remember going to a couple of roller discos, that kind of thing. And that was all in this sort of area where I was, Southwest London, in the suburbs of Southwest London, around Kingston. That sort of progressed to the car park of the roller disco, jumping over chairs and like that kind of stuff, until I saw some people kind of grinding curbs. And when I first saw aggressive skates was in that sort of time. So then from about 12, that's when I started to do tricks and things like that, get my mum or my sisters to take me to a skate park. When they went somewhere else and dropped me off, they'd come and pick me up after.
Was that just the outdoor parks, or was that an indoor park for you at the time?
Mostly outdoor parks at that point, like in and around Surrey or Southwest London. They sort of dropped me off at the skate park and then picked me up later on. But then a couple of years after doing that, about 14 or so, that's when I was kind of getting about on my own, and just anywhere where there was a skate park, I'd travel, get the bus, or find a way to get there, skate for ages, just to go skate, find some people to skate with. But from those early sort of times, mainly in Kingston skate park, there was a skate shop there, Route 1, and that's where I met a few of the people I'm still friends with today, skate with them today. Ed Inglis, predominantly. He had a cool little crew of a lot older guys, maybe 10 years older than me, and they'd sort of meet at the shop when it shut and go out and skate street in the town. Just used to go out and watch those guys skate and like try and have a go on whatever they were skating. But yeah, soon turned out to come full circle, and they became my friends and ended up skating street all the time.
Strange, isn't it, that nobody actually skates like Robbie Pitts, though? Considering everyone that we spoke to in here, look, started off in roller skates. Where's the flare? Where's the flare?
Yeah.
Nobody seems to be pulling that flare off, except for Robbie Pitts.
It's a strong look, like it's.
Yeah, I mean, my style in the roller disco is more go around in circles as fast as you possibly could. Like, I wasn't really trying to do anything fancy at that point. I was just kind of hacking it around and around.
Yeah, I think it was maybe like Slam Jam, probably maybe 2015, 16, where at the time I hadn't massively heard of it, but then I've always been that guy where like I've kept myself just with my friends skating and never really reached out skating, where you've had a bit more history listening and reading into skating.
I found a bit more enjoyment in that.
Yeah,
as well.
I remember being at Slam Jam, I think it was like 2015 or 16, and I think Dave Bell picks up the mic and he's like, Dan Collins, and next minute you just jump into the big stall, like absolutely steaming it across the skate park. And I was just like, the speed of this guy. This guy needs to slow down, he's going to kill himself. So obviously, from skating with all them older lot, and how did it come across that you ended up skating for? Because I don't know if you still are, or at the time, how did it end up coming across with Jake Healy and hooking up with Loco?
Oh yeah, yeah. Still repping Loco Skates for sure. Jake Healy's longtime friend, boss man of Loco Skates. It's my first ever sponsor and now my only sponsor. But that sort of came about. I can't really. I think I remember it was at a skate park in Brighton at the Level. Maybe when I was about 17 or 18, and I was skating down there, and I think I'd met Jake before, but I was probably a little kid, and he was like a 20-something-year-old man, so it was a bit like we never really had a conversation, you know, just so I knew of him. And Loco it was nothing on what it is now, you know, it hadn't been going half as long. And he just sort of said, oh, do you want t-shirts? I think gave me a set of wheels or something. And he was like, oh, if I give you a couple of t-shirts, maybe you can make a video. And then if he likes the video, you can just get wheels and stuff if you need them. Sort of flow products. And at the time, it was like the best thing that's ever happened to me. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to really like go to town with this. I was absolutely stoked, as any kid would be. So I went off back to London and made an edit with Tom Sharman. And that was my first ever edit for Loco Skates. We filmed it all in a day in Kingston, my hometown. And that was some time ago now, maybe well over 10 years ago, I would say. And then, yeah, just it's been cool ever since. Jake's the man. He sorted me out. Always helped me out. Anything I need for skating he'll be more than happy to help. Very proud to be part of that team.
So obviously starting that well over 10 years ago, was that kind of when you were getting into sort of competition side of skating as well, or were you doing that before the hookup, or was it kind of all at the same time?
It was kind of around the same time. I'd say, I mean, there comes a point where you realize there are competitions and things, because my hometown and where I was, and obviously you see things in videos, but you don't really know how to go about getting to these places or doing these things. There'd be some sort of small competitions like jams at local skate parks around the borough or wherever.
Yeah.
And I'd always go to those if I heard about it. And then sort of started hearing about things further afield, like up at Rampworks, or if there was something going on at PlayStation or something like that. I started to travel a bit more because I had a bit of money and stuff. So it was probably around the same time that I started traveling a bit and going to contests. Yeah.
So obviously going from Loco Skates, there has been a couple. Well, from what I know of, there has been one quite big sponsor. What happened with that, and what I assume you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Everyone always asks me this question.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got that was funnily enough the whole story started at Loco Skates shop. I went to Loco Skates to get new skates actually after breaking my ankle. Broke my ankle at NAS. Can't remember the year. 4 or 5 years ago now.
It wouldn't have been the year that Rob Pruitt decided to jump off the roof.
No, I don't think it was the same year as that. Because I was all right that year. but so it was 1 year. It was when they had the street course outside. they had like a real street outside with like a wooden floor and a kink rail and stuff. And I was skating the warm up on that kink rail and broke my ankle, which was pretty bad. But anyway, so the story leads me to several months after that injury. Was at Loco Skates, getting some new skates to start my skating back up again, and met the owners of Adapt brand there, who happened to be looking for someone from the UK to represent their brand. Okay. And I just released a video of all my old footage when I was injured, because I thought, well, I'm going to be injured for ages, so I may as well just put all this footage out there, because it's going to be a while till I film again.
Yeah.
And so yeah, they ended up putting me on the team, gave me some opportunities to get around and film some bits with the team, go to a few comps, got a few pairs of skates, and yeah, put me on the pro team, and had some great experiences. Unfortunately, it didn't work out. Several contributing factors to that. One being my rock and roll lifestyle at the time, which certainly didn't help proceedings. Seeing eye to eye with the owners, Peter and Olga. They're both very nice people. Also very straight laced, like neither of them drink or smoke or anything like that. It's quite it was they live a very different life to the life that I was living at the time. And also with Kevin, who is their filmer, he's obviously quite renowned for his anti drugs, alcohol, you name it. He's that guy. So obviously me and him didn't see eye to eye. And bearing in mind he was employed to make the video for that brand, then we were having to hang out quite a lot. And it all kind of came to a head where I was going through a lot of bad things. Broke up with my girlfriend at the time. Was in the process of getting kicked out of my house. Like there was a bunch of bad stuff all sort of coming to a head. And at that time in my life, my way of dealing with those things was hit the sesh, drink loads, take drugs, pretend none of it mattered, like you're above it all, which wasn't the case. So ended up falling out with them pretty bad. And they decided to let me go, sent me a message. Well, I actually sent them I wrote them a note. That was a handwritten note after I stayed at their house after a contest in the Netherlands. Just sort of saying thanks for putting me up and sorry if there was any trouble, and like I'm going to Barcelona now. We'll talk in the morning or whatever. And I got an email the next day saying I was off the team and it was all over, kind of thing, which is a super bummer. Sort of asked them to reconsider it a little bit, said, look, I'll sort my stuff out and I'll stop drinking so much and figure it out. But they were pretty firm on that. So I had to suck it up. Ended up having a blinder in Barcelona for a week and filmed an edit anyway. My dad skates, sent them the edit and said, look, you can have the edit if you want it or whatnot. They didn't want it, so I just released it as a Loco edit and drew a line under it.
Wow, that's pretty intense way of it all kind of unraveling.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. Yeah, one day, going from one day sort of thinking, I pushed my luck a bit there, but it's all going to be right. I had a pro skate that was in the works, ready to come out. Realized the childhood dream, it was all there. But in my clouded judgment, like my world was kind of falling apart around me, and I thought, you kind of take it for granted, like, oh, that's just happening or whatever. And I didn't really consider how fragile my position was.
Yeah, I do understand what you're saying, but at the same time, it's really hard to reason with anybody who is that stretched.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's different perspective completely from
That's the
one end
thing,
to the
but
other.
like going from somebody who, like, you know, is majority of UK rollerbladers who love a bevvie, love getting on the sesh. Like,
Yep.
our UK rollerbladers love it, and you know, it's not. It's a UK thing altogether in general.
Yeah, there's definitely a drinking culture involved, obviously with the UK anyway. But like you say, I mean, you probably admit yourself, Dan, it might have got a bit too heavy if you were living that, like you say, the rock and roll lifestyle.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm actually, I've made my peace with Peter and Olga, and I still think they're nice people. And we sort of buried the hatchet, went to Clash a couple of years ago, and I thanked them for giving me that slap in the face, because it was actually the thing that, out of everything, having that dream taken away from me at that point, really made me take a look in the mirror and sort of go like, hang on a minute, you've just fucked up the best thing that could have happened, you know? And I actually stopped drinking after that completely for over 18 months. Didn't have a drop to drink. And for me, that was a really big deal, because I went from sort of 100 to 0, and managed to keep it up. I said I was going to do it for a year. And I did the year and then just carried on because I didn't really feel like having a drink, you know. And
I do remember skating with you quite a bit when I was down your way, so mainly at like skating like Thursday nights at Bay and stuff, and obviously everyone would always bring a beer. I actually remember offering you a beer and you being like, no. And I'd be like, right, okay. You're like, yeah, I'm not drinking anymore. I'm done. But I remember also coming skating with you, and you're like 5-6 tins in, but you're still sessioning, like like skating the bowl, still drinking tins, and I was just like, fucking hell, this guy, how's he still skating standing, like drinking that many tins? And then,
yeah, I mean, it got pretty ruthless at stages, I'm not gonna lie. Like, but I'm also not gonna taint some of the memories, hazy memories, but memories that I have of being young and reckless and doing wacky stuff and like smashing a load of beers and doing stunts, because some of the best and most memorable times in my life have been doing something batshit crazy when I've had a few beers and gone out doing stunts, you know. And then that was just the time in life that I was at, you know.
Yeah.
And had a big wake up call, decided to change the process.
So going from that, so obviously you said you went to Barcelona, obviously filmed for a week and stuff like that, and then you cut out the drink altogether. How did sort of the next 12 months play out? Was that quite tough, or was it kind of just?
Yeah, it was tough. Yeah, I mean, I think it got easier as time went on. Obviously, the first week was really hard because I've just had this terrible news. I've just been dropped by my sponsor. I've still got all this stuff going on at home because I went straight from the comp in the Netherlands where I'd fell out with a dad. And I went straight from there to Barcelona. And meanwhile, back at home, I've got all this trouble going on, and I didn't really want to know about that. But I got a turnover, I think it was like a 12-hour turnaround in London. And then I had to go straight back to Gatwick to surprise Rob Glanville for a trip to Barcelona to celebrate him recovering from his accident.
Right.
And so it was all pretty mad. So we got there, and obviously everyone's having a beer, like it's kind of a celebratory holiday. And I've decided that I'm going to stop drinking, but obviously the beers are absolutely everywhere. Everyone's just, because I've only just decided that I'm not drinking, everyone's just passing me a drink or like putting it in your hand. They're not meaning to do it, but they're just going, oh, sorry. And you just kind of have to be like, oh no, it's cool. But yeah, so that week was hard. Then the month maybe after that. But once I've made my mind up about something, I'm usually very like really determined to make it work. So it just became a flat out no. Like there's no option. I don't have an option to do it. So yeah, well, as the months went on, it just got easier and easier because people learn not to give it to you. You know, like people will just say they're not going to put a beer in your hand. They'll just go like, "Oh, do you want a lime and soda or whatever?" And they'll know that it's not happening.
So how did the skating go then? Did you kind of with the knockback from Adapt? Did you kind of think? Did you want to take a step back from skating, or did it make you kind of go the other way? You wanted to throw yourself into it and kind of show them, you know, they were wrong to drop you, sort of thing, or were you just taking it each day as it came and just kept skating?
Yeah, I mean, it was obviously very disheartening. It was pretty hard to take once it's sort of all processed. I was like, oh no, like that. It's such a small industry, and I've worked so hard to get to this point. Maybe that was my one chance, and maybe it still is or was, like to achieve that, you know, that goal that I've had in my head since I was a kid. Maybe that was my one shot, and I messed it up. So personally, in my brain, it was quite hard to deal with. But on the flip side, the best way I have of dealing with negative thoughts or depressing times in my brain is by going out skating with my friends. So it's like skating was what caused it, but then, well, being a wreckhead is what caused it. But I had to skate to make myself feel better anyway. So it ended up being some of the best times I'd skated for a long time was freshly after I got dropped by Adapt, because it was quite freeing in a way. I was only doing it because I wanted to do it for a change. And the previous few years, it was more of a responsibility.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people say that, you know, like if they've stepped away from sponsorship through choice, kind of, you know, this is all getting a bit much, you know, you kind of feel that pressure to go out and put out content.
Well, it's worse now, I'd say. I don't know if you know, Dan, but so the likes of like the Razors team, they're having to actually
like $10 a clip or whatever.
They get
they're doing a lot just to keep their sponsor, and it's not like it used to be. You're not getting handed a pair of skates anymore, in the sense of like, you're getting a discount.
Yeah, it's like there's a lot more work needs to go into it, because obviously there's not as much money in the sport in general.
Like obviously, like, you know, obviously, if an example, Jake Ricketts in the moment is continuously going out to skate because he doesn't want to lose that sponsor, because it's just continuous having to put out the content, continuous having to try now to keep that sponsor, which is a little bit of a shame, I think. You know?
Yeah, I mean, well, obviously, you know, if you get to that sort of stage where you're a sponsored pro rider for a team or a boot company or anything like that, then, you know, you're obviously good enough and like skating enough to go out regular. But I see what you mean.
Like
there's
pay bills.
Well, it doesn't. You're right.
Yeah, I mean, me and Peter, the owner of Adapt, came to loggerheads a few times about that kind of thing, where, you know, these brands want to call shots on you and act like you're a boss or whatever, but if you're not paying my rent, you know, like it's it's hard to take that seriously when it's like, well, you might have paid for my €50 flight to get to this one place, but I still had to spend €500 of my own money to do everything else, and then go home and pay my rent, and then, like, do you know what I mean? And it's just kind of, it's hard to take it as a job if it's not your main source of income.
That's honestly why I've got a mad respect for Greg doing Blade Life.
Yeah, the stuff you were saying, about putting that helping out riders where possible and stuff. And I'm sure other companies do it as well, but it's if the money's not there.
But the amount of money that raises, considering Andy Wagner owns AO Scooters, he owns a couple of brands, the amount of money that he's probably bringing in through other sources, like paying for like somebody's flight or paying for somebody's accommodation or giving them an allowance for the week, probably isn't anything out of his pocket.
Yeah.
It is what it is. Most people, like, I have untold respect for the few people who are making it work full-time blading.
Yeah.
Because it takes a crazy amount of work. You got to go through the maddest turbulence in your life, and it's a really dicey path. And some wizards out there are making it work, and have been for a long time.
Joe seems
Lomax, Joe's smashing it.
Aldridge.
Exactly right. Smart with his money when he wins comps, and he's just really good at living that life of just constantly on the move. And yeah, Lomax has made a nice little living for himself, and he's got it set up. And like, there's people who can make it work, right, and create a quality of life that is good enough to sustain. But man, that takes some serious work and risk. Because obviously, if you at any point building that position for yourself, if you're to, God forbid, get really hurt or something terrible happens, there's no safety net for you there. Like, that's just give it a little while, and you don't have any of that support.
Yeah,
crazy, isn't it, when you think of it like that?
Yeah, I mean, it is, especially with such like a dangerous sport. We've all sort of had falls here and there, but it doesn't take much to have one bad fall. You know what I mean?
I think Happy did the right thing getting involved with Nitro. So
yeah, well, I think yeah. Well, if the door's open and you can do something like that, absolutely, you can jump on it, because
if you got double flat spins over a mega ramp, sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I ain't doing that shit. Like, I'll happily go to work just to not do that shit.
I'm sure I've seen something like
yeah. Like, I mean.
CJ Wells was doing that now.
Nitro,
like, yeah, this time sort of taking that position.
Well, he'd be pretty good at doing it.
Yeah, he's fucking boss.
Yeah.
So anyway, going back to Loco, we were watching a few edits before from the stuff you put out over the years, and it seemed there was a few tours in there as well. The Love Scotland DVD as well.
Yeah.
Talk us through some of them crazy tour times. It was
yeah, the Scotland tour in particular was a great tour. That was just Jake kind of said, let's all go around up to Scotland and tour all the skate parks, and he had this idea in his head and said, I'm going to fly somebody over. I'm going to get like a big American pro and get them over. And there was sort of discussion on who that was going to be. And he asked a couple different people, I think. And it ended up being Eric Bailey, who I think was skating for Amor at the time.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like he was going to be on the team sort of thing. It was just he wanted a special guest for the tour to make it.
Skating Hollow there wasn't.
Well, it was that they did the collaboration.
With the denim boot. Yeah. But anyway,
I think we're thinking about the yellow, grey, and
so that was the Loco.
Oh yeah, the Loco Velo skate. Yeah.
Amor did was it a red and grey one as well?
Yeah, red, black, and white. Loco did yellow, black, and grey.
Yeah.
The old K2 colors. That's that's where it came from. But so that tour was pretty mad. Getting to skate with Eric obviously was different class. That was maybe the first time I'd directly skated with like Session the same spots with, and gone around with one of these big American pros that you've seen in all the videos and looked up to sort of your whole life, and didn't disappoint, was unbelievable, so professional, and just would look at something, say the trick he was going to do, and then just do it in 1 or 2 goes, and you'd be like, what? Yeah.
Just one banging stuff.
Yeah. Unreal, and super nice guy too, super chill. We still talk online sometimes. Had some times, skated some great spots, got a lot of time for the Scottish people as well. Plenty of great friends in Scotland, and my sister was actually living in Scotland at the time, in Edinburgh. So when we did the Edinburgh stop of the tour, got to see her and like go out and have a drink and meet some of her friends, and in and amongst some of my pals had some pretty rowdy times in the vans, with Lomax and Elliot, Joe. Spent a lot of time in those vans together. So there were a few little arguments and stuff between the group.
Yeah,
and
I can imagine. I live in Van Ives, mate. There was enough arguments.
yeah. But on the whole, brilliant experience. That is digitally recorded and will exist forever in digital format somewhere or other.
Is there any places you've been to rollerblading that really sort of stick out as fond memories, and like different countries? And I'm sure you've been a fair few places and comps. And
I have. There's loads of places that have special spots in my heart and mind. How long have you got? Like it's almost like every place you visit has a unique memory or a feeling or a group of people that makes you feel tied to that place. There's a lot of places. Prague is absolutely brilliant, and I urge anybody that has the opportunity to go to the street comp there.
I'm actually going in September, so
in September. Yeah, honestly, mate, you'll have a blinder there. Yara does an incredible job putting that event on. Like, puts all his own money into it. Like, it's the biggest prize money of any comp for anyone.
What was it the box/rail comp that you went against? Jeez,
that was
a Blading Cup.
Blading Cup.
Yeah, that was amazing as well.
Little underdog bastard.
We actually split the money on that one.
Good on. I like that.
Because it was really late, and everyone had a couple beers, and there was all these mad bets going on. Like, people were betting on tricks and battles. There was like 2 brothers that battled on this rail, and people were just throwing in $20, and it was crazy. And after they rolled over some of the cash, and they were like, "Who's gonna battle for this?" And it ended up being me and Cheese. And then it all got cut short, because I think there was complaints about something, and like Julio had come out and like kind of killed the vibe. We ended up splitting it.
Yeah, it's difficult to mix UK banter with American banter.
I think that as well for that competition, I'm sure they like shut off one of the streets.
I don't think it was that. I think there was something that had happened earlier on, and it had caused a big problem for him and their whole setting up the event, which is fair enough. And he was pissed, and it wasn't. When someone comes into a room and says something, or like they came to that situation, and the whole vibe was like up here, and then suddenly it was down here, and then everyone was like, "Okay, we should probably just stop."
It's a bit of a shit on the competition.
Other places, Athens is unbelievable. What Nick Cross and the SES skate guys have got going on over there is different if you get the opportunity to go there.
Is that the Blading House?
The Blade House,
Yeah.
yeah, that's it. That's unreal as well. And also it's just a lovely city. Great if you've watched the.
One thing I have got to ask you, Dan,
Yeah.
is from what I've noticed, if I was to go on your social media, the last time you posted was a throwback 5 days ago.
Uh-huh.
So is there something in the mix that we aren't seeing so far on social media that you might be throwing together, or?
What do you mean? Like, what? Am I working on anything, or?
Oh yeah, you working on anything? I know you should throw out the little one banger line clips like that. Troom is, what would you call that? 450 backside.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, that is ridiculous. I'm not gonna lie, mate. Like, hands down, ridiculous. But I think we'd all be quite happy to see some sort of a new banger of Dan Collins' edit out.
yeah. Well, yeah. There's a little something. Yeah, it's been in the works for a while. I'm not ready to put it out yet.
Are you skating? Are you skating much with the London crew again? So I see, like, obviously the guys who have filmed mostly clips at the moment on here. Are these the guys who are doing On My Grind? So like Jason,
Jason Odie, and I've met. Jason's my boy, man. Yeah, like we live down the road from each other. Same local skate park, Rose Hill, the one with all the little grind boxes, and yeah, we skate a lot together around. But I've been out skating street a lot, especially the last few months. Kind of ramped it up a little bit.
Yeah, some of the episodes we were watching earlier from 9 years ago, and you were doing full cab back sabs down handrails. So I'm expecting some naughty tricks.
No pressure.
Yeah, no pressure now. Now it's out there, and people are going to listen to this, and you know they're going to expect the fucking naughty Dan Collins edit. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, I've got something. Like I said, been working on it for a while. I could put it out tomorrow, and I'm sure people would like it. But I'm not gonna put it out until I'm happy that it's, one, the best that it can be, and two, that it's better than anything I've ever released before.
Yeah,
nice.
Well,
Because
obviously,
I feel it should be everything I release. I feel should surpass what came before it. You know.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Well, obviously, I was a bit late throwing the UKBC post out there for people to ask questions. But one thing I do want to say to you before all that fucking shit, before we tell you the questions, only 2 questions so far because I was fucking mega late on it. Don't let that dream of being on another team and potentially getting another skate disappear, because there is definitely still opportunity there for you, mate.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And it is something that, of course, I would like to realize that dream. I haven't given up on it, but I'm not expecting it. I'm still going to skate because I love doing it, regardless of any reward or recognition or anything that comes my way. In that sense, I think there's a huge combination of things that need to come into line for that sort of thing to happen. You got to be in the right place at the right time, be a little bit lucky, do the right thing in front of the right guy, or meet that person. You know, there's so many factors. But I definitely haven't given up on it. I think if it happens, that's absolutely amazing. If it doesn't. But yeah, for sure, it would be good to do it, even just to be part of another team and have a common goal, which is something that I think I overlooked before, is, you know, having that sense of there's a few of you and you've got a common goal to promote this common
I think you've got the right attitude when it comes to it. It's like you're going to carry on skating and do it because you love doing it. And, you know, if the opportunity comes along where somebody spots you, then happy days. But at the same time, it doesn't really matter because you just fucking enjoy doing it still.
Yeah, of course. I'd be doing it if nobody was watching. I'd be doing it if I could only ever skate a 10 square meter flat car park of rubbish tarmac for the rest of my life and nobody could see it. I would still put my skates on most days. Do you know? So what if you get something back from it? That's amazing. And obviously, I've made my mistakes now, and I wouldn't approach it in the blasé manner that I did before. And I'm also very happy that I lost that opportunity or I screwed it up, because in a roundabout way, it made me the person I am now, and it made me make some of the best decisions, life decisions for me as a person outside of skating, and just my entire well-being and my life benefited a lot from losing that, you know.
That's a hell of a way to look at it as well, because there could be endless amounts of people who'd be in that same position and be so bitter about it and really resent it, and it'd have that sort of negative impact on their life. Whereas obviously you're trying to take it and put a positive spin on it. It's helped you make better decisions going forward, which is great, and props for you for
yeah. I went through the bitterness.
I can imagine. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm sure everyone would feel hard done by it to some extent, but at least you've turned it on its head, and now you can see the positives you've got from it. Like you said,
you have to learn. You never lose if you learn. So if you learn from all your failures and missteps, then you're always winning.
2 questions that we have. One of them is a question. One of them is taking the piss out of me.
Yep.
Which is great. always the situation. So it's Connor Keebley. Would you pronounce that Keebley?
Yeah.
Yeah, Connor Keebley.
Connor Keebley.
Skates with like Craig Sumner.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
The ones that smell like CX and Monster, the moshes. So Connor has asked you, what would you say is your biggest accomplishment is in blading?
Easy. Biggest accomplishment. Well, the biggest feeling of accomplishment, and it's my biggest accomplishment, was winning the best trick trophy at NAS. The Rich Taylor Best Trick Trophy at NAS. So many reasons why that is my biggest achievement, because that trophy now lives on the bookshelf of one Mr. Rob Glanville, and it's been there since he went home from the hospital. I don't know, some people will know, some people won't, about what happened to him. Had a terrible accident when we were out skating several years ago. And the NAS in particular, where I won that trophy, he was actually in the hospital in a coma, unconscious. And there was a big sort of energy around that. It was all, if you watch the videos, you'll see Jake's kind of like ramping everyone up, trying to send vibes to Rob. And I had it in my head from before we went there. I was like, I'm going to win the trophy, and I'm going to get that Rich Taylor trophy, and I'm going to take it to his bedside in the hospital. And like, when I give it to him, it was really symbolic. It was all like a mad head trip. And ended up doing it. And super emotional. Like, I was crying and stuff, and I really hurt myself for trying to 5 off this barrier. And I bust my ankle in the comp before, and I got the medics. I remember seeing Joe Egan in the medics place. He was getting his shin stitched up, and I'd sprained my ankle really bad. And I was trying to convince the nurse, look, what can you do for me, just so I can do one more trick, so that I can put weight on my foot. I don't care if it messes it up worse. Just do something to make it numb. And they put this crazy compression thing that was like cold compression, and it just numbed my whole leg out. And got my skates back on, went and jumped off the spectator thing into the ramp, got the trophy. the best day of my life. CJ, who I travelled up with, who's also a really good friend of mine, won the pro comp. So we had both. He won the pro comp, I won the best trick comp. We shared a ride back, and we were like, "Whoa, like this is the best." Got back, and first place I went to the hospital to Rob's bed, and I'm there to take him the trophy. And that was like when I got the news that we don't want to alarm you, but he's awake and he's been in a coma for like a month. And we were like, whoa, what the fuck? Like went in, wanted to talk to him, and he obviously wasn't all right, but he was responsive enough that we thought he was dead, you know? And it was really emotional times. And I showed him the trophy. He said, look, I won this for you. I'm gonna put it here on your bed. And he just mustered enough energy to kind of like reach his hand up and like spud me like a little bit, like, and he could barely talk. And so it was mad times. But yeah, I gave him the trophy, and it lives at his house now. But it's a constant reminder of my proudest and biggest achievement. Yeah, for sure.
That's lovely. That's really nice.
It's a good story, that.
Yeah, it's good, that. So the next question you've got is from Tony Heath.
Okay.
Tony Heath has asked, have you ever seen myself land a front side?
Land a front side?
I don't think I ever have.
Yeah, well, I think front sides aren't my to go to correct.
Is it a trick question? Like, have you ever tried a front side?
He's just been in the bell end. His actual question on it is saying, on a serious note though, what's the most Charlie liked message you've received from Charlie Lockyer since lockdown?
That's pretty good. Can you repeat it? What is the most
liked message you've received? Well, what is the most Charlie like message you have had from Charlie Lockyer since lockdown?
Oh mate, me and Charlie talk a lot, so
I can imagine there's some absolute
some absolute belters in there. Probably.
He's having a look right now.
I'm having a look. Plus, like, I don't want to put it on him too much. Like, I don't want to.
It's hilarious.
Charlie's my boy. He's a good lad.
Tony Heath is really good friends with Charlie from Charlie from back in the day. And they still are really good friends, but it's just he's done that to take the piss out of Charlie, but then for you,
of course,
Charlie in the shit.
Post lockdown, we've had some pretty great combos, but we don't normally like we had a pretty good FaceTime like when the lockdown had only just started.
Yeah, he does love a FaceTime.
And that was pretty good. But yeah, it's hard to. I want to find a good one, but yeah, I don't want to drop a minute, you know.
Well, Charlie, you gotta bite the bullet and just get on with it.
Yeah, I don't know. Everything Charlie says is Charlie like. So
yeah,
you can use your imagination.
Yeah, everybody knows. Charlie threw out some sort of questionable fucking conversations there and then.
He's an absolute legend. He's a legend.
Very good. Very good.
A legend. Yeah, a gentleman and a scholar. Big up Charlie Lockyer. Big up yourself if you're.
I think we are actually due to have Charlie on at some point.
Yeah.
Oh mate, yeah, do it. He's the best.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll have a lot to say.
Get him on.
Well, history.
Yeah, he'll have some stories for you for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's time to let your girlfriend back in the house.
Yeah. I'm not sure where she's going. She's probably doing yoga in the garden or something.
Yeah.
The wood fire hot tub's just about probably ready. We put the fire on in an hour or so.
I hope she's got it ready for you, because if she hasn't, I'd be really upset. I'd just go straight to bed.
Whatever she's doing, I'm sure it's good. She's a diamond too.
Yeah, excellent.
Yeah, well, thanks for your time, guys, and
pleasure having you on.
An opportunity to have a little chat and stuff. It was nice.
Yeah, really good.
I'm sure I will be happy to hear your little stories.
Yeah, nice one, boys.
Dan, take it easy. Look after yourself.
Take it easy, man.
Peace, man.
Nice one. See ya.